Hi, my name is Arin. This is Arin Honey, and today we're going to do the mid-year book freakout tag. I'm just casually tackling Luca out of view because he keeps slamming into the tripod. In case you're new here, this is my Lou. He's the real star of this channel. Do you want to just cuddle instead of attacking everything? Okay. Anyway, we're doing the mid-year book freakout tag. This is my first one. I started this channel back in October, and I always love watching these videos, so I'm really excited to make my own. We're about to talk about a lot of horror and a lot of romance because apparently those are the only two genres I read anymore. So let's just dive in. Okay, so the first question is, what's the best book you've read so far in 2024? And that is actually, I don't own it yet. I read it from the library. It's Boys in the Valley by Philip Fracassi. So this was kind of just like a, let me try this, you know, a casual little, okay, it's late winter, I'm feeling horror-y, let's try it. Especially because it has a 4.19 on Goodreads, which is unheard of for horror. Like, that's a wildly high. Like, if I see a high 3 on a horror book, I'm like, wow, this is well liked. So I was like, okay, I have to find out what all of this is about. You know what I mean? And it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint. This book was so good! It took the perfect amount of time to really make me care about all of these characters, get really, really invested, and really understand each of them. Then once it started, it was relentless. Relentless. It was just like boom, 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 boom. I'm usually not into like boys fighting as a subgenre of horror, but oh my god, this one did it right. This one did it right. And when I say that I ended up sobbing reading this book, I was so tense, I was so excited, I was like, what is happening? I don't want to see anything horrible happen to these characters that I care so much about. And I was just flying through it, and when it does not pull punches. It does not give you a break. You do not have time to breathe. It was so well paced. Whew. I love that book. Okay, the second question is best sequel you've read so far in 2024. So I have to admit that I had not read the Heartstopper series until a couple months ago. I know. I know. I do know, okay? I took care of it. I only have the 5th one left and then the 6th one that hasn't come out. I love. Okay, so I think the second one was my favorite of the series so far. So like easily, this is the best sequel that I've read so far this year. Okay, the next question is, what's a new release you haven't read yet but want to? This is an easy one, and that's The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. It's about a girl in college, her life's kind of falling apart, and her dad has like left her family or something like that. The dad's out of the picture, it's all traumatic, and her mom starts dating this white guy, and he really leers at the people of Asian descent around him. The main character is of Asian descent. Our girl is like, wow, this asshole has beautiful eyes. Sure would love to eat them. Yes, you would. And I'm so excited to read about you eating them. I'm so excited to read about you eating this man's eyes. I don't know, man. Horror lovers are weird. I'm so stoked for this one. Okay, so the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, which was easy for me. It's Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake. I'm obsessed with the Delilah Green series, especially that first one. I do really enjoy the second and the third in that series, but Delilah Green Doesn't Care just hit. It hit. I love Ashley Herring Blake's romances. I'm so excited we're getting another one. Thank God. It's not in the same series, but it's still sapphic. And it's a Christmas one. I don't know if I've ever read a seasonal romance. This is really, if you are new here, I used to only read horror I started reading a lot of romance this past winter because I was having a really hard time. I don't want to brag. And now I read like kind of half and half horror and romance. So I'm still hitting a lot of romance milestones for me. And I suppose one of them will be reading this Christmas romance, and I can't wait. I think it's sort of like a second chance enemies to lovers situation with some artistes in New York. This next one's rough. The next question is the biggest disappointment. I'm so sad about this. I'm so sad about this. Okay, so my biggest disappointment was the book that I anticipated being my favorite book of the whole year. I was like, wow, this was written for me. I can't wait. This is gonna be perfect. I can't wait. And maybe my hopes were too high, but I didn't like it. I didn't even like it, okay? The Woods All Black by Lee Mandello. I'm so bummed. Okay, so this is a historical horror. We have already established I love historical horror. This is a T for T romance, okay? And like a trans revenge story. What? Like that sounds like everything I've ever wanted in my whole life. Maybe I need to read this one again sometime. It's really, really short, and see if it hits different. But when I say that this book made me feel nothing, I don't know if it's because the prose were trying to feel historic or historical, but they felt so far from me. The action, the characters, everything felt so far away from me that I felt literally nothing, okay? No emotion. And I'm here for the emotions. I think that's why I mostly read horror and romance. I'm here to feel. I read books to feel things, okay? And that book made me feel not a damn thing. Huge bummer. Huge, huge, huge bummer. On a positive note, the next question is the biggest surprise. And that is a romance that I got just like pure cover by. I was like, wow, that looks so cute. I read the back. I was like, oh yeah, this sounds great. This will be easy and fun and just like whatever. And it left me feeling changed as a person. So it is Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. I have never heard of Cara Bastone. I didn't really hear anyone talking about this book except for one or two people. It kind of just came out of nowhere for me. So this is a very slow burn romance between a woman who finds out that she's surprisingly pregnant and a man who is not the father, but is actually her childhood friend. And it is so sweet. It's so sweet. I felt so many things reading this, mostly just like my heart growing and growing and growing as I read it. I expected to kind of like it, have a decent time, and I think it's probably gonna turn out to be in my top 10 of the year. I just love this book. Okay, next up is favorite new author, debut or new to you, and this is a new to me situation, and that is Talia Hibbert. So far I have read Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and just this morning I finished Take a Hint, Dani Brown. This is another one that will probably be on my top 10 of the year. I have fibromyalgia. Chloe Brown has fibromyalgia. That's why I picked this up in the first place. I don't know how she does it, but she just writes the perfect romances for me. I mean, other than them being straight, but I'm like willing to forgive it. She really perfectly combines like unique but relatable and funny and well-developed characters. It's all so funny. The banter, the prose, just hilarious. There's so much growth, there's so much representation, there's just everything I want when I go for a romance novel. Great amount of spice, and I never feel awkward reading the spice. I don't know how Talia Hibbert writes the romances she does. I love these books. I love these books. I can't wait to read the third one. The next question is newest fictional crush, and that's actually going to be Dani Brown from Take a Hint, Dani Brown. A witchy, emotionally unavailable bisexual. My type, okay? I'm, first of all, so lucky that I found and am engaged to an emotionally available, vaguely witchy, aesthetically speaking bisexual, but 100% my type. The next question is newest favorite character, and so I have to bring Heartstopper back because my newest favorite character is Nick.
Hi, editing Arin. Watching my answer to this question is so frustrating because I'm talking about Charlie the whole time and I keep calling him Nick. So I meant Charlie. I even opened up the books to make sure that I wasn't mixing up their names. And I was like, right, it's Charlie. I meant Charlie. I meant Charlie. I love Nick, but I meant Charlie.
That boy right there, he got my heart. He got my heart all the way. I love reading about Nick. He's so relatable. I was exactly like him in high school, and reading his growth, his journey, all of it is just so wonderful and also so relatable for my teenagedom, unfortunately. But I just love reading about both of them, Nick and Charlie, but Nick especially. I just really, really love Nick. I just want to put him in my little pocket. Okay, the book that made you cry. Like I mentioned, Boys in the Valley did make me fully sob. I'll see if any of the other ones I remember crying at before I tell you the one that almost ruined my life, almost killed me from dehydration. I cried so much. I cried a little bit reading Hello Beautiful, and I think that's it. So Boys in the Valley and Hello Beautiful did make me cry, but the one that if you had seen me finish this book, you would have had every right to be like really deeply concerned about me. This took my heart, shredded it into a million pieces. I still haven't recovered. I don't know if I ever will. The last 100 page, I'm gonna save this. And while you listen to me talk about it, if you know which book I'm talking about, let me know if you guessed it before I show you. The last 100 pages of this book took me hours to read because I had to like breathe through the tears and get enough tears out so that I could see the page again to physically read. And I would like read a page and then I would be sobbing again so hard I couldn't see the page, and so I would have to like take another breath. I finished this book, reached over, turned off my light, and cried myself to sleep. And then for the rest of the week, if I saw the book, if I would think about certain lines, if I would think about it at all, I would start tearing up, okay? This book destroyed me, mind, body, and soul. And that is Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Sugimura. The first half I was rolling, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is just a cute fun time. And then I finished it and I was like, oh, I'm a different person now. I'm a different person than I was before I read this book. A book that made you happy, and once again, yes. It was the Heartstopper books. I just kicked my little feet. I just smiled till my cheeks hurt, like literally, until I got to the last one that's published because I don't want to be caught up. I was flying through these and they just like made my month. It is so ridiculous that it took me as long as it did to read these books. Like, what was I waiting for? Did I not want to experience joy? You know? I don't know what was going on with me, but I'm glad that that period of my life is over because I love those books. Okay, the next question is favorite book to film adaptation that you've seen this year. And if I am thinking correctly, the only one I've watched so far this year was The Watchers, and I didn't like it at all. I also didn't like the book. Ooh, oops, getting spicy. Not for me. It was not for me. I didn't like it. So I don't really have a good answer for this question because the only one was a real letdown for me. Real letdown. So there you have that. Okay, the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Easy. It is one of my favorite books that I had only ever gotten from the library because it's like $40, rightfully so, but it's like $40. And then I was at this used bookstore and there was like a weird tag on it that didn't match any of the other stuff in the store. And so I took it up to the front and I was like, hey, do you know how much this is? And she was like, oh, sorry, that's not our sticker. Well, let me think. Okay, well, it was in that section. It's pretty old. So I think, how about $8? I stole this book. I stole this book. I'm sorry to that used bookstore owner that I robbed you, but I also don't regret it. I'm so happy that I own this. This is My Favorite Thing is Monsters by Emil Ferris. It is one of my favorite books of all time. I love it so, so much. I relate to it so, so much. It's about a young girl who sees herself as a monster. She loves monsters, but you know, still not great that she sees herself as one. And it's like a mystery coming of age. It's in the 70s. It's just wonderful. It is just so, so, so good. And it is all drawn like it's ballpoint pen. It's her diary, so it's like ballpoint pen on notebook paper. And it's beautiful. I'm so happy I own this. And this actually leads in perfectly to the next question, which is, what is a book that you need to read before the end of the year? And that is the sequel that just came out! Finally, we've been waiting for like 5-6 years, like a really long time. Respect? Respect? But finally, we have My Favorite Thing is Monsters Book 2, and I can't wait! I'm so excited. I can't wait to devour this. I'm so excited. I've been waiting so long. Okay, but that has been my very first mid-year freakout tag. Hopefully not my last. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you're into this whole thing I have going on. I also talk about movies and video games and like general lifestyle stuff. I mostly talk about books, but I do talk about other stuff sometimes too, so if you're into that, feel free to join us. And if you've made it to the end of this video and you don't have anything else to say, maybe leave me a monster emoji in the comments. I would also love to hear any of your answers to these questions, especially if they lead to a book recommendation for me. I always love getting book recommendations from you guys. But that is all for now, so I will see you soon in the next one. Bye!